Hello, everyone. Welcome to the How-To Guide, Boss Babe Blog Edition. In this How-To Guide, we're talking about how to be presentable on an on-camera business interview. So this is part one, and I'm going to keep them nice and simple so we can focus on each section in quality instead of quantity. So part one is dedicated to the perfect background. What I want to go over is how you can create an attractive background to help visually attract your audience and be presentable during a business interview. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to share is that there are many different options on how you can be presentable for a business interview. Let's talk about virtual backgrounds. If you have no other option, I'm starting with this one first because it's the quickest, but if you have no other option whatsoever, then I would recommend utilizing a virtual background. Because here's the thing, when you're moving around, if you're going to be moving, if you're talking with your hands, unless you have maybe a green screen, like or a green backdrop, you're probably going to have issues with that virtual background not being able to pick up and sense your body. And it's going to cut off certain parts of your head and your arm and your shoulders. And, we just want to be able to see all of you. So that's something that if you only have that option, I would recommend putting a green backdrop behind you, number one. And then number two, I would also just try to make sure that it's a background that's not going to be too busy so the camera's able to pick up you. For example, if you're in an area with a whole bunch of people walking behind you, that's probably not the best place to try that virtual background. I would say on a white wall or a nice simple background. I wouldn't even do the virtual background on this background because I would worry that the camera might have an issue with picking up me, my black that I have on, mixing it with the black background. Computers and technology has definitely elevated, so it may not be as much of an issue, but just coming from an editor side and a designer side, I know that it's just a lot easier if you have a nice, simple white or green background if you're going to use a virtual background. All right, so now that we move past the virtual background, it's not my favorite and I don't recommend it, but if it is necessary, it is an option. Let's talk about actual backdrops. So the background behind me is an example of a backdrop. This backdrop is something that you can purchase off of a website. You can go and Google it. You can go to Amazon and you can find a website that sells photography backdrops for a very affordable price. Depending on the size of the backdrop will determine how much the backdrop truly is going to cost, because this backdrop on a 5x7, which is technically what this is, can cost anywhere from 10 to about 15 bucks. If you're looking for a backdrop that's like a 20x20 or a 10x20, you might be higher up in like the 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s range, depending on the details on the backdrop. So I'm just saying that to state that if you have the income to invest in a larger background, it would be great, because if you're going to be using more space, like standing up, moving around, doing a haul, maybe a try on haul or some kind of video where you want to be mobile and moving, that backdrop will be very, very beneficial. But if you're just going to be sitting, for example, how I am right now, you don't necessarily need a huge backdrop, and it doesn't have to cost you all of your funds. So this is something that's very important to keep in mind when going to purchase your backdrops. So like I said, this option is available. There's plenty more. I would recommend starting off with a nice, simple backdrop. I selected this one because I love the bricks. I love the black bricks. I've had hot pink backdrops, but you can always do a classic white. You can't go wrong with the classic white and a classic black backdrop, or a classic green backdrop, because you will need the green screen or the green backdrop if you're trying to do video editing. It's going to help. It's going to make it a lot easier. So those are some of the first colors that I would recommend. Now, once you've got your basic colors, then you can move into maybe bricks or sparkles, or, colors that match your brand or match the theme of what video that you're trying to accomplish. But those are just some options that you have. Things to keep in mind with the backdrop. Try to ensure that if you're going to be using a backdrop, that you steam it or you iron it so that it doesn't have those lines that it normally has, because it's been folded and shipped out to you. That is going to elevate your presentation by a whole lot. It makes a difference. It takes you from someone that might be taking photos or doing videos, at their home for fun, to someone that is probably set up in a production area or a production studio to complete a professional video. Whether it be a business interview, whether it be a video that you're doing for your brand, but it just elevates your presentation. A steamer or an iron, and a steamer is really going to be your best friend. Try to be careful when you using your steamer because you don't want the actual steamer to pop you. Sometimes steamers will drip the hot water. So if you're not someone who's used a steamer before, please follow the instructions and make sure that you're holding it away from your body and not anywhere close to you where hot water could drip onto your fingers, hands, or your feet. So yeah, that's just another option that's available. But steaming that backdrop is going to make a huge, huge difference. I'm also going to be sharing a video with you on this snippet where I can show you and give you a little information on how you can use the outside as your background. But please keep in mind, if you're going to use outside as your background, there are some really great pros and cons. The pros is that, it's natural lighting, so you don't have to invest into a professional photography light or a professional ring light or light like what I have in front of me. The con, I would say, the biggest con is that you need to be very careful about where you're doing it. So your background, you have to be very aware of that. You can't have people walking in the background. If you're going to be doing an interview, they need to be focused on you. So find a place like a brick wall, a real brick wall, and go there to videotape and conduct your interview or conduct your business video. So that's another option that's also available. Another thing to keep in mind when outside is that you may want to think about weather, factor that in as well, what you're wearing, how the weather looks outside, whether or not you're going to be sweating, if you need to change, just kind of factor that in, and then make sure that even though the sunlight is going to be hitting you, you're not blinding yourself, because that makes a huge difference in how you're able to present and stay focused. So I will have a video, a bonus clip that I'm going to be adding to this video where you can listen to me talk a little bit about having that background. So now that we've talked about the backdrop and we've talked about outside, another option for your background to elevate your presentation during business interviews or any business videos in general, is having a professional background. So you can go to an office, you can rent out an office, but what I would recommend over renting out an office is just to rent out an Airbnb or a hotel that you're able to keep for more than 1 hour or more than 2 hours. You can also rent out a studio. But the thing about the Airbnb is that you're able to set up, you're able to take your photos or make your content or whatever you need to do. And you don't necessarily have to worry about, okay, I have to leave in 1 hour, I have to leave in 30 minutes. So all this has to be packed or else I'm going to be charged. If you go to an Airbnb that's already beautiful and set up nicely, then you can just go and find a way to videotape there. Keep in mind to be aware again of what you're videotaping. So, if there's a picture of someone, you probably don't want to have a picture of someone in the background. Or if there's books, you want to make sure you're reading what labels are on those books before you do that video. Because if you're for example, nutritionist and you're doing a video and you decide to book an Airbnb and there's books behind you on 30 of my favorite junk foods to binge all day, that's probably not going to match with the video, right? So we want to make sure the background is cohesive with the message that you're trying to send. If you are a financial professional, go to an actual office or try to find an office area in the Airbnb, or just a beautiful chair that's already set up and upholstered that you can just sit down and be interviewed in that corner. But these are things that you want to be very aware of. So backgrounds can make a huge difference in how presentable you are when you're doing these interviews. And it can make a huge difference when you're just making videos in general. So hopefully this information has helped you. And I can't wait for you to watch this video, and you can tell me, if it's beneficial to you in the comments. Let me know so far what has been the most beneficial piece of information or idea that you were able to receive from watching this video. And sit tight while I go ahead and play this 30 to 40 second video on how you can utilize outside as a background when you're trying to be presentable for business interviews and business videos.
Another video option is outside, but you want to make sure that the camera is in front of you and the light is shining on your face and on your chest versus behind you. Because if the light is behind you, people won't be able to see your face as effectively. It won't be as bright, and the video will not be as attractive. So this is another option that's available, but please remember that you will need a stand to videotape, because you don't want to have the camera shaking while you're doing your interview. That's something that's distracting to the audience and to the viewers. Another video option is outside, but you want to make sure that the camera is in front of you and the light is shining on your face and on your chest versus behind you, because if the light is behind you, people won't be able to see your face as effectively. It won't be as bright, and the video will not be as attractive. So this is another option that's available, but please remember that you will need a stand to videotape, because you don't want to have the camera shaking while you're doing your interview. That's something that's distracting to the audience and to the viewers.
Okay, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed that video. I played it twice just to make sure that you were able to, take note of it. But you can always save this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you go ahead and tap that like button at the bottom if you gained any information, insight, or inspiration from watching this video. So this was how to look presentable at an on-camera business interview, part 1. So hopefully you're able to take something positive, productive, and proactive to help you with your business, your videos, and your content creation. I look forward to presenting the next subject, which will be in our part 2 of our how-to guide. Thank you all so much for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.